My name is Esther Wachuku, and these are the top stories. Emir Sanusi speaks on reinstatement. Governor Yusuf reveals what will be done to George who tried to halt Sanusi's reinstatement. Protesters stormed Villa National Assembly over reinstatement of Sanusi as Kano Emir. Daily Fagbemi warns Nigerians on Wike versus Fubara feud. Tribunal delivers final ruling on Uzodinma's Gobar election victory. And Nigerians stunned as minister makes U-turn on mass child wedding, pledges support for 100 orphan brides in Niger State. Details now. The world news at 6 begins with Emir of Kano Muhammadu Sanusi II commending Governor Abba Kabir Yusuf and members of the House of Assembly over his reinstatement and for saving the history of Kano State and Nigeria at large. VOP News gathered that Sanusi was speaking shortly after receiving his reinstatement letter from Governor Yusuf at the Africa House, Kano Government House today, said his reinstatement is a testament that no man can take what God has given. According to Sanusi, God has preordained time and calls for everything and everyone, adding he gives leadership to whosoever he wants. Meanwhile, the governor of Kano State, Abba Kabir Yusuf, has expressed his determination to bring to the attention of the Niger Governors Forum the alleged misuse of court orders during the reinstatement process of Emir Mohammed Sanusi Lamido. You will recall that Governor Yusuf had signed a bill repealing the State Emirate Council Law 2019, which gave the state 5 emirate councils. The State House of Assembly on Thursday passed a bill for the dissolution of the 4 additional emirates created by the immediate past administration of former Governor Abdullahi Ganduje and the removal of all 5 emirs. The bill also empowers the Kano Emirate Council to reinstate Sanusi Lamido. However, a court order was issued prohibiting the reinstatement of the former CBN governor. Justice Abdullahi Mohammed Liman of the Federal High Court in Kano had issued a temporary injunction restraining the Inspector General of Police, the Kano State Police Commissioner, the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps, and the Department of State Service from enforcing, executing, implementing, or operationalizing the Kano State Emirate Council Law. The judge granted this order after considering a motion filed by Aminu Baba Danagundi, who holds the title of Sadikin Dawaki Baba. Speaking, however, after issuing the reinstatement letter to Sanusi II at Africa House, Kano State Government House today, the person, according to Yusuf, the person who issued the court order was in America, but he is ordering us to stop what we are doing. I must present this issue of abuse before the Governors Forum so that we can tackle it accordingly. We are agents of following due process. That's why we did what we did openly before everybody. Those that are meant to maintain that rule of law remains must always follow that also. End quote. In the same vein, protesters marched the presidential villa and the National Assembly in Abuja today, demanding President Bola Tinubu's intervention in the Kanu Emirate conflict. The protesters marching peacefully carried banners highlighting their concerns about the escalating situation in Kanu. They called on President Tinubu to use his authority to resolve the crisis and ensure the restoration of peace and stability in the state. The protesters, under the banner of the Concerned Patriots of Nigeria, accused Governor Yusuf of escalating his abuse of office by dissolving the traditional council. Elsewhere, political activist Daily Fagbemi has claimed that the incumbent governor of Rivers State, Siminalayi Fubara, and his predecessor, Nyesom Wike, are fighting over the loot in the state. Speaking via video shared on X, Fagbemi asserted that the politicians were simply fighting for their own interests and not that of the state. He advised Nigerians to remain neutral and not take side with either of the political warriors. Fagbemi stated that when the duo are done fighting, they would come for the masses. According to him, my enemy's enemy is my enemy, not my friend. That seems Wike's enemy doesn't make him my friend. Fubara is not different from Wike. When they are done fighting, they are coming for you. The fight was just to determine how to share the loot. They are not fighting over anything, but rather to control your commonwealth. The entirety of the fight is about how to mortgage your future and how to sell your children and children's children into slavery. It is about the control of the common purse. Now, let's take a listen to Daily Fagbemi actually making that statement on X.
my friend. Same is Wike's enemy. It doesn't make him my friend. It might be the whip by which Wike's ass is being cleaned in this time, but he's no different from Wike. When they're done fighting, they're coming for you. The entirety of the fight is to determine how to share the loot. You are the prize. They're not fighting over anything other than how to control your commonwealth. The entirety of the fight is about how to undermine your future, how to mortgage your future, how to sell your children and your children's children into slavery. It's about control. The control of the common purse, which had never been superintended for your purpose. They have the same purpose. They were doing it together. You can't be picking sides with armed robbers who are quarreling over how to divide the spoils of your home.
While in Imo State, the Imo State Governorship Election Petition Tribunal has upheld the election of Hope Uzodimma as the state governor, dismissing the petition filed by the Labour Party and its governorship candidate Ethan Achonu. VOP News gathered that in a unanimous judgment delivered today in Abuja, the three-man panel of the tribunal, led by Justice Oluyemi Akinto Osadebe, held that Uzodimma's election complied substantially with the provisions of the Electoral Act. The tribunal further ruled that the Labour Party failed to provide sufficient evidence to prove its allegations of overvoting and non-compliance with the Electoral Act. You would recall that Uzodimma, who contested on the platform of the APC, was declared the winner of the November 11 governorship election in Imo State by the Independent National Electoral Commission. Achonu had approached the tribunal seeking to nullify Uzodimma's election, citing electoral malpractices in some parts of the state. However, the tribunal's verdict has put to rest any doubt about Uzodimma's victory, affirming his mandate as a duly elected governor of Imo State. In a significant reversal, the federal government of Nigeria has announced its decision to abandon the proposed realignment of the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway due to the presence of submarine cables along the coastline. The announcement was made at the third stakeholders meeting in Lagos, where the Minister of Works, Dave Umahi, confirmed that the proposed diversion would no longer occur, citing potential risks to the country's internet connectivity and telecommunication infrastructure. Umahi revealed that the environmental impact assessment for the project would not be available for now, invoking Section 15 subsection B of the Freedom of Information Act to justify withholding certain information from the press and public. The cited section allows the government institutions to deny access to third-party information. The decision to hold the realignment plans comes after telecommunication companies warned the government of the possibility of network outages in the country if the diversion were to proceed. The proposed realignment route would have affected the submarine cables that are crucial for maintaining internet connectivity and global data transmission. In a video shared by journalist Leila Johnson Salami, members of the Okuaja community, which would have been impacted by the realignment, were seen praising the Tinubu-led administration for its decision to abandon the plan. The proposed route had previously led to the demolition of ancestral homes in the community and several private businesses, including the landmark beach resort. The federal government's decision has sparked a range of reactions from Nigerians across various platforms. While some applauded the move as a necessary step to protect critical telecommunication infrastructure, others criticized the government for failing to conduct proper assessment and feasibility studies before embarking on the demolition of private properties. Critics argue that the government's action have already caused significant harm to businesses and individuals, raising questions about accountability and the decision-making process involved in large-scale infrastructure projects. As the debate continues, the federal government is now tasked with exploring alternative routes and strategies for the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway while ensuring minimal disruption to local communities and the country's vital telecommunications network. You're currently listening to the World News at 6 on Voice of the People, 90.3 FM. We'll take a very short break. When we return, we'll head into our news analysis segment where I'll be joined by Barrister Darlington, who would help give us his perspective on some of the stories that we read out on the World News at 6. Just stay with us. You're currently listening to the World News at 6 on Voice of the People, 90.3 FM. It's time for a news analysis segment where I'm being joined via the telephone with Barrister Darlington. Barrister Darlington, good evening and thank you for joining us on the World News at 6. Can you hear me? I am fine. Thank you so much for joining me today. Barrister Darlington, there's quite a lot that is going on in the Nigerian political landscape. One of them, which I want us to quickly talk about, because we already discussed it earlier, but we want a proper comprehension of this particular development. So the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway project, for now, there's a realignment. Apparently, the federal government yesterday, through Dave Umahi, the Minister of Works, announced that it has decided to abandon the proposed realignment of the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway due to the presence of submarine cables along the coastline. But Nigerians were asking questions. Why did they not commence, or rather, before they began to demolish properties, especially at Landmark and the Beach Resort, why didn't they do proper feasibility studies before they commenced, in demolishing those properties? I remember, like I said earlier, that Leila Johnson, one of the senior correspondents with Alliance Television, asked the governor. She asked the governor if the environmental assessment plan is available, if they've done their feasibility studies. The governor said, in a manner as we all know how it trended, the governor said that they would make that particular feasibility study environmental assessment plan available to the press. However, he has revealed that for now, there will not be that particular environmental impact assessment project will not be available for now. He invoked Section 15B of the Freedom of Information Act to justify withholding certain information from the press and the public. Meanwhile, initially he said he was going to make it accessible and available to the press. So can you help me explain what the exercise was initially, and what would happen to those properties that have been destroyed?
Thank you, Esther. You see, one of the reasons why people run into problems in the name of governance is because of what? Impunity and arrogance. Everybody has told Tinubu to stay action on this particular project, but he refused. I can tell you for free, that project will not finish in the next 50 years. In the next 50 years, that project in fact, a government will come that will abandon that project. Mark my word. Because of what? The less importance of that project. Then you now ask yourself, why did the Tinubu embark on it in the first place? Is it possible that Tinubu will finish out this project in the next 8 years? It is not possible. Answer, it is not possible. All this is not about selfish interest. Selfish interest and vainglory. Let it be said that I'm the one that started it.
But Barrister Darlington, what will happen to the properties already destroyed? And for the people who defended this process, how do you think they will explain what is currently at stake now that the Minister Dave Umahi made the statement he made? Because it caused an uproar. He gave a reason why they had to deviate from the initial mapping of the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway, despite pleas from the business owners at the beach resort for them to continue to deliberate.
That is what I'm expecting you people, the press, to go and ask them. All the supporters of this project, go and ask them now. Why is there no environmental impact assessment? Go and ask them. You will see the lies they will put out there. I am telling you, if they go ahead with this project, you may not have access to your internet.
But
it will disrupt a lot of things.
Barrister Darlington,
Nobody should have thought of.
Barrister
before you
Darlington,
continue.
a couple of critics and political analysts like yourself feel that there is a political intonation in this entire ordeal, specifically for the company that will be responsible for that Lagos-Calabar coastal highway and the revenue that beach resorts would actually accumulate, and maybe competition. Is there a possibility that there is a political intonation in this whole thing?
No. Politically, yes, is there. Then two, selfish interest.
Well, selfish interest from who, please?
For the man who is pursuing it now.
Who is the man pursuing it, Barrister Darlington? Because
the president. Who is the president?
But the president said in his renewed hope agenda that one of the things that his administration is all about is about infrastructure, economic development and progress, and to help create jobs for the labor market. So how is this for selfish interest?
In the first place, you can see how much a kilometer of that coastal road is costing you and I. Just one kilometer of it is costing 4 billion naira. Where is that done? It is obvious that money is going to be missing. No government of Nigeria has ever done project for you diligently and accurately. It can never happen.
Why are you saying this? A couple of persons, Barrister Darlington, will accuse you of always defaming the administration of President Bola Tinubu. Some persons may even think you're ethnically biased. So if you make this kind of statement and the president commenced on this kind of project, according to the president, is for the general developmental effort of the Nigerian people, how does this particular development that Dave Umahi just stated yesterday, how does it help the cause? I'm saying so because a lot of critics make such remarks, about when you make statements like this on this platform.
But the fact remains that the tax on ground is speaking for itself now. Buhari did it with the Kano Emirate line. And you and I know how much, in fact, that rail line is the most expensive in the whole world. The international community said it's not me. All because of what? Somebody's selfish interest. Was there any proper costing, evaluation? These are the things we are talking about. How can a kilometer of that road cost 4 billion naira extra? You are not even looking at what I'm talking about. Go and tell me where in the world. I'm not an engineer. I have listened to world-class engineers and they said it is not possible. 4 billion naira for 1 kilometer of that road. What kind of road is that?
All right, Barrister Darlington, let's look at other. Let's look at other issues, okay? Because
it was never budgeted. Esther. It's not in the budget. So how can you go ahead to think?
Our Barrister Darlington, let's look at other issues because of time. I don't want us to expend so much time on this conversation. The Minister of Justice and Attorney General of the Federation, Lateef Olasukomi Fagbemi, has declared that the embattled leader of the proscribed indigenous people of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu, is being held according to the rule of law. Fagbemi added that he does not know Nnamdi Kanu. He made the submission while he was speaking on the second day of the ministerial updates in commemoration of the 1 year in office of President Tinubu. The minister submitted that Kanu's case and that of Omoyele Sowore are not the same. According to him, when he was asked why the likes of Sowore and the Yoruba Nation activist Sunday Igboho were released while Kanu remains in the custody of the Department of State Services, the minister said Nnamdi Kanu and Showore's case are not the same. If I see Sowore, I don't know him. If I see Nnamdi Kanu, I don't know him. So Nnamdi Kanu is being held under the rule of law and the court, and that let Nigerians wait for the decision of the court. No one should be held outside the laws of the country. What do you say to this?
The man is speaking from both sides of his mouth.
Okay.
Reasonable felony is reasonable felony according to our laws. That was what they charged Sowore for.
Yes, he is saying that the case of Sowore and the Yoruba Nation activist Sunday Igboho, that they were not the same.
Hold on. Did you explain how they are not the same thing.
He did not. He just said that he doesn't see any of them.
You can imagine my problem with these people. You should have told us how they are different. That's what I'm listening to you now. Some people read the socialist address before the camera, before the press, where he presented all the instruments of state before the press, before the public. He brought out their currency, the padaka, their flag, their passport, their coat of everything. He brought it out before the camera and read his address, where he removed the Yorubas from the map of Nigeria. So, what is it talking about? Or is it not a fact? So, that mobilize people all over Nigeria to cause a revolution. Please, this sentiment should stop.
No, but why didn't you give? Why didn't he? Like you rightly, Barrister Darlington, like we rightly asked, why did the Minister of Justice and the Attorney General of the Federation not give us the difference between Showore and what's his name, the Yoruba Nation agitator Sunday Igboho? Why did he not give us the reason why those cases are different from that of Nnamdi Kanu? Because according to, at the time, the case of Showore, they said it was treason. The revolution now that is revolting against the government, at the current government at the time. The same thing too with Sunday Igboho, it was also treason. The case of Nnamdi Kanu is treason, but the two individuals, Showore and Sunday Igboho, they're working free. Nnamdi Kanu is still in DSS custody, not even being given bail. Meanwhile, in a recent judgment, Abba Kyari was given 2 weeks leave to go bury his mother.
I'm telling you. So these are the things. And these are the things the Igbos are talking about.
So are you attributing this whole thing to ethnicity? Because he's saying that the law should take its course. He's not seeing anybody's face. He's not seeing the tribe they come from. He's saying that the law should take its course and the Nigerians should wait for the court to decide in Nnamdi Kanu's case.
Can't you see what is happening here? These two people, we are really under the custody of the law until Tinubu came into office. Okay. Why didn't he allow the case of Shore to go through? Because the federal government entered the non-prosecute in the case of Shore. That means the government is no longer interested in this case. They just remove their hand from the case and ask the guy to go home. Now what happened? Sunday Igboho, who was chased into the public hospital, when they were giving bail here, why didn't the federal government allow him to come and answer charges here? Because on several occasions, the DSS invited the refused to answer charges. That's why they invaded the chance to go and arrest me. And he ran away. So what are you not telling me? If this is not ethnic bias, then what is it? A whole attorney general. These are what you are talking about. Let them tell us that thing that Nnamdi Kanu did or said that any of these people did not do worse. I'm not talking of the terrorists in the north. He should have broken it down and then that particular thing that made Nnamdi Kanu's case different. If it is not ethnic bias, they tell me what it is.
How do you think this will affect the supposed trust in the judicial system? I mean, with what the Justice Minister just said, because like you said, he couldn't give us a difference. He couldn't properly explain or contextualize the case of Sunday Igboho, Showore, and that of Nnamdi Kanu. So the question now is how...
The CJN have already told you that our judiciary is rotten. Ariwala, who is just leaving office, is telling you that the judiciary is rotten. He said it.
No, he said that there are impediments. He said there are impediments. He did not mention rotten. He didn't use the word rotten. He said there are impediments within the judicial system and that there are mistakes that needs to be corrected.
Yes, sir. What do you mean by impediment?
You know, I'm just telling that he didn't use the word rotten, Barrister Darlington.
Oh, you are looking for the word. Analyze the two words now. See what it means. When something is not pure, when something is not flowing freely, when something is not as it should be, is that not an impediment?
It's an impediment.
So what are you not telling me?
No, I'm just using his word, he didn't say rotten.
Okay. Yeah. You only use a mind word, but that is the reality. He said it himself. So what are you not telling me? These are what I'm talking about. The judiciary is no longer following the rule of law. They are no longer acting according to what law says. Did the Attorney General tell you that the Supreme Court said that Nnamdi Kanu his bail ought not to have been revoked? Did he tell you that?
No, he didn't say so. He just said let the law take its course. That's just what he said. But he didn't properly differentiate the cases of Igboho and Sowore, because that's what a lot of Nigerians were asking, that if you could grant Sowore bail, if you could grant Sunday Igboho bail, these are individuals that the federal government found treasonable allegations, they said they committed treasonable felony, and then you're also giving the same case to Nnamdi Kanu. How come you supposedly exonerated those ones or gave them bail, and you can't even give Nnamdi Kanu bail or transfer him to Kuje prison? And they also talked about Abba Kyari's recent 2 weeks relief to go bury his mother. That kind of treatment was not meted out on Nnamdi Kanu. So that's what netizens are asking. But his response did not, contextualize, or rather explain better.
It will not. You will not explain anything because I cannot explain it. That's baffling. There are thousands of people in detention whose parents are dying. They didn't give them that privilege. Nnamdi Kanu's dress is that. They didn't give him that privilege. What are you talking about? And now drugs. I'm not the same drug offense that women that anybody involved in it should be executed. So why are they giving the Abba Kyari such a preference? If the United States said that they should bring him to the UN, the federal government refused. If it's somebody else from another region who is not in their group, they would have taken him to the US long ago. And when you ask them, they say yes. To tell the international community that Nigeria does not support evil, that Nigeria does not support criminality. That was why we had to advance by the request of the US. But they have been asking for Abba Kyari. Nobody responded. Sir, this is what is destroying Nigeria. Ethnic sentiment. We are not a nation. Nobody be deceived. We are not. In 21st century, look at how we are behaving, even at the highest level of our court. In 21st century. So they are waiting for when I need for man to become president. That's when Nnamdi Kanu will release. That's not true. Because Buhari released his own. The Northerners. Tinubu has come, he has released his own. So we are waiting for the day and if man will become president, probably P2B, and then he will not release Nnamdi Kanu.
All right, Barrister Darlington, we've run out of time. I want to say thank you so much for taking your time to share your perspective on the World News at 6.
Thank you, my dear.
All right. Thank you, Barrister Darlington, for your time. That was Barrister Darlington giving us his perspective on some of the questions posed at him on the stories read out on the World News at 6. And finally, before we go in a surprising turn, Nigeria's Minister of Women Affairs, Uju Kennedy Ohanenye, has backed the controversial mass wedding of 100 female orphans in Niger State, just days after vehemently opposing the event. Kennedy Ohanenye has pledged to provide scholarships and gift items to the 100 brides ahead of their wedding today. The minister had initially voiced strong opposition to the Speaker of the Niger House of Assembly, Abdul Malik Sarikindaji, sponsoring the mass marriages, citing potential violations of the Child Rights Act. However, she now claims the media misunderstood her stance. To support the newlyweds, the minister has ordered the opening of bank accounts for each bride, depositing a stipend to aid their transition into married life over the next 6 months. Foodstuff, wrappers and other gifts will also be distributed at the Emir of Kontagora's palace during the celebration. According to the minister, she said, and I quote, "I did not intend to stop the marriage, but to ensure the girls are of marriageable age and not being